Good morning. It's day 2 of the quarantine here in Mecklenburg County in North Carolina. I hope you are all well. I hope you are safe. I hope you are healthy. Before we start talking about social wellness, I just want to share a tip with you. I'm a big believer when you have a meeting to have an agenda because I believe it shows a sense of discipline and it also helps keep people on track during a meeting and not go off course. So what I do is I don't have a meeting every day, but I have my daily agenda. And this is my to-do list. Every morning I sit down and while I'm having a cup of coffee, I write down what I need to get done. And yes, I am that person that likes to check off when I've accomplished something. And so what it does is it helps me set goals for the day. And it also, at the end of the day, I know I actually accomplished something. And as you go through this period, when you're home and working virtually, it is important to set goals because you can waste time. And when this is all over and people are going to say to you, what did you do while you were working at home? You need to be able to say what you did and what you accomplished other than just your normal day at work. So a to-do list is important. So we've heard this term, social distancing, now since this has all started, a term that a few weeks ago none of us had ever really heard, none of us had probably ever used. And it's interesting because people do keep a physical distance from you. And I do have a concern that people will become socially distant. And I have a friend who came back from a cruise. It was a rather extended cruise, and she arrived back home and she was walking down the street and a neighbor saw her who obviously knew she'd been away on a cruise. She was across the street. The neighbor, when she saw her, turned around and walked in the other direction. So socially distancing could quite possibly result in social isolation. I have a nephew who's a doctor, and he said probably a better term should be physical distancing, which is what we're really being encouraged to do. So as you are home, and I'm sure a lot of you are leading virtually for the first time, how are you checking in on your folks that you lead? How are you checking in on the family if you have a family at home? And how are you checking in on yourself when it comes to social wellness? It's important for us to stay engaged, and there are little things that you can do. When it's important to not just text people and email people, that's great, but it's important to see people and talk to them that way. And don't make it all about business. Ask them how they're doing. I mean, some people are home with young children. Both people, are working. The spouses or partners are working. Their little ones around. It's a lot of chaos that they're trying to manage. And it's stressful. So checking in on them is really important. There are a couple things that I do. This is something I've done for a while. The New York Times has a mini crossword puzzle. And my brother Kevin, my son Jay, and my son-in-law Stephen and I all do this every day. It's timed, and then we share our times with each other. And usually it's the time is accompanied with an appropriate meme or GIF. And it serves as a way to be connected each day, and very often it makes me laugh. I have 3 nieces who are Peloton riders, and so am I. And so we will exchange texts with each other on who they're riding with, what ride they recommend, and it helps us stay connected in a very unique way. So it's important to pay attention to these moments. In my book, I wrote about moments that matter, and there are moments that matter all around us. And I hope you're paying attention to the social wellness of the people you lead, your family, and yourself. And remember, You must be the standard. This is Maureen LeBoeuf with Their Leadership. Thanks for joining me today, and I'll see you tomorrow on day 3.